I want to tell you about the biggest mistake I made when I first started building my real estate team. I kept agents on the team who were not performing, not for a week, not for a month, for way too long. I kept telling myself they were going to turn it around, that they just needed more time, more support, more patience from me. And what I didn't realize, what nobody told me, was that keeping an underperforming agent without either coaching them up or coaching them out wasn't just hurting my business, it was hurting them. It was hurting the agents around them. And it was sending a message to my whole team about the standards I was willing to accept. That lesson cost me, and I don't want it to cost you. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I built my team from zero to where it is today. 38 agents, a sales manager, an operations manager, a transaction coordinator, and multiple high-level coaches, including the mistakes I made along the way that I wish someone had warned me about before I made them. My name is Scott Coomer. I'm a real estate team leader based in Arizona. Let's get into it. Before I get into the blueprint, I want to answer the question that a lot of producing agents ask. Scott, I'm already making good money as a solo agent. Why would I complicate my life by building a team? It's a fair question, and I want to give you an honest answer. Here's what I know about building a career on solo production alone. It has a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, only so many deals one person can manage at once. And your income, no matter how hard you work, is always going to be limited by your personal capacity. A team removes that ceiling. When you build the right team around you with the right people, the right systems, and the right support structure, your business can grow beyond what you could ever produce on your own. And more importantly, it can grow without requiring more of your time. That shift from trading your personal hours for income to building a structure that produces income is the difference between a job and a business. Building a team is not for everyone. It requires a different skill set than selling real estate. But for the agents who are ready for it, it is one of the most powerful moves you can make in this career. Let me show you exactly how to do it right. The first and most important thing I want to tell you about building a team is that most agents try to build a team before they build the foundation. And that is a recipe for chaos. Here's what I mean by foundation. Before you bring a single agent onto your team, you need to have systems. You need to know how leads are going to be generated and distributed. You need to know what the onboarding process looks like for new agents. You need to know what training is available and who's going to deliver it. You need to know what your compensation structure looks like and how it's communicated. You need to know what the standard of the teams are, the activity expectations, culture expectations, the accountability structure. If you don't have answers to all those questions before your first agent joins, you are going to be making those decisions on the fly while also trying to lead a person who is depending on you. That's stressful and it's unfair to the agents. The agents who build great teams build the infrastructure first. They treat the team like a business from day one, not as something they'll figure out as they go. Before I brought my first agent on, I had a training process, I had a lead generation system, I had a compensation structure. I had a clear picture of what I expected from every agent on the team and what they could expect from me. That foundation is what has allowed me to grow without ever falling apart. Build the foundation before you build the team. Do not skip this step. Step 2, and this is one that took me longest to learn. Hire slowly and set your standards from day one. I want to come back to the mistake I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. Keeping underperforming agents on the team without coaching them up or coaching them out. Let me tell you what that actually looked like in practice and why it was so damaging. Early in building my team, I made the mistake of bringing agents on too quickly. I was excited about growth. I wanted the team to be bigger, and I didn't ask the hard questions up front about whether someone was the right fit, whether they had the work ethic, coachability, and the commitment that the team required. So I ended up with agents who weren't meeting the standards. And then I made the second mistake. I let it go on too long. I kept thinking they'd turn it around, kept giving one more chance, kept avoiding the hard conversation. Here's what I learned from that experience. When you tolerate underperformance without addressing it, you don't just have one problem agent, you send a message to every agent on your team about what you're willing to accept. Your standards become the floor, and everyone either rises to it or sinks towards. The agents who are performing will start to wonder why they're holding themselves to a higher standard than the person next to them. And slowly, culture starts to erode. So here's the framework I now use and teach. Coach up or coach out and do it early. When an agent isn't meeting the standard, the first step is always coaching up. You sit down with them, you identify specifically what isn't working, you build a plan together, specific activities, specific timelines, specific support. You give them a real opportunity to improve with real accountability built in. And if they respond to that, great. You have an agent who just needed the right direction. If they don't respond, if the effort isn't there, if the commitment isn't there, then you coach them out. Not with cruelty, not without respect, but with honesty. Because keeping someone in that situation that isn't working for them or for the team, it's not kindness, it's avoidance. Hire slowly, set standards clearly, and enforce them consistently. That is the only way to build a team culture that actually holds up over time. Step 3 is the thing I believe has been the most important factor in keeping our team together and growing. And that is building a support structure that generally meets agents where they're at. Let me tell you what our team structure looks like today, because I think it illustrates this better than any abstract device could. We have 38 agents on our team. We have a sales manager who works directly with agents on their production, scripts, lead conversion, pipeline management. We have an operations manager who handles the business side, systems, processes, the back end that keeps everything running smoothly. We have a transaction coordinator so our agents are not drowning in paperwork when they should be focused on generating and converting leads. And we have multiple coaches, people who have personally performed at a high level themselves, who our agents have direct access to. Not coaches who just read about real estate, coaches who have lived it. Here's why that last piece matters so much. Agents can tell the difference between advice from someone who has actually done what they're asking you to do and advice from someone who just is repeating what they've read in a book. When your coaches have personally produced at a high level, their credibility is built in. Agents trust them faster, follow the direction more completely, and get better results because of it. Now here's the philosophy behind all of that structure. Every agent on our team is in a different stage. A brand new agent in their first 90 days needs something very different from a 3-year veteran who's trying to scale. A top producing agent who's capping needs different support than an agent who's still finding their footing. The mistake most teams make is building one support system and expecting every agent to fit into it. What we built instead is a structure with multiple access points, so that no matter where an agent is at in their career, there is someone and something can meet them where they're at. That's what keeps agents on the team. Not just the lead flow, not just the split, the feeling that when they need help, real help, specific help, timely help, it's available every single time. Step 4, culture. This is a thing that most team leaders either take for granted or treat as a nice to have. It's neither. Culture is the thing that determines whether your team feels like a place people want to be or just a transaction where agents trade their production for support. And I want to be honest with you about something. Culture does not build itself. Culture is either built intentionally by the team leader or it forms on its own from the habits, attitudes, and behaviors of whoever happens to be on the team. And when culture forms on its own without intentional leadership, it almost never becomes what you wanted. So here's what building culture intentionally actually looks like. First, be clear about what your team stands for. What are your non-negotiables? What behaviors are celebrated? What behaviors are not tolerated? Our team stands for authenticity, consistency, and taking care of the agent, not just the production number. Every hiring decision, every coaching conversation, every team event should reinforce those values. Second, model the culture yourself. You cannot ask your agents to show up consistently if you disappear for weeks at a time. You cannot ask your agents to be coachable if you're not open to feedback yourself. You cannot ask agents to treat clients with integrity if you cut corners when it's convenient. The culture of your team is a direct reflection of who you are as a leader. Build accordingly. Third, celebrate the right things. Most teams celebrate closings, and closings should be celebrated. But on our team, we also celebrate consistency. We celebrate agents who showed up every single day. We celebrate effort. We celebrate growth. We celebrate the agent who had a tough month but never stopped doing the activity. Because what you celebrate is what you get more of. Build a culture that rewards the behaviors that lead to the results, not just the results themselves. The final piece of the blueprint, and one of the hardest challenges every growing team faces, is how to scale without losing what made the team great in the first place. Because here's what I've seen happen to teams that grow fast without the right infrastructure. They get bigger, but they don't get better. They add agents, but they can't support those agents the way that they supported the first 5. The culture that was strong at 10 agents gets diluted at 30. The team leader who is accessible to everyone becomes a bottleneck because everything still runs through them. And slowly, the thing that made the team worth joining in the first place starts to disappear. Here's how I've tried to avoid that on our team. Every time we've grown, we've asked ourselves one question before adding more agents. Do we have the infrastructure to support the agents we already have, plus the ones we're about to add? Not can we handle the volume, but can we actually support the people at the level they deserve? That's why we built out the sales manager, the operations manager, the transaction coordinator, and the coaching team. Not because we wanted the biggest team, because we wanted the best supporting team. Growth that outpaces your support structure doesn't build a great team. It builds a big team with small results and unhappy agents. Scale with intention, build the support structure first, then grow it. Here is the team leader blueprint that took me from 0 to 38 agents, including the mistakes I made so you don't have to. Step 1, build the foundation before you build the team. Systems, compensation structure, training process, standards. All of it before their first agent joins. Step 2, hire slowly and set the standards from day 1. Coach up or coach out, and do it early. Tolerating underperformance without addressing it erodes your entire culture. Step 3, build a support structure that meets agents where they are. Multiple access points, real coaches that have personally produced at a high level. Every agent should know that help is available whenever they need it. Step 4, build culture intentionally. Be clear about what you stand for. Model yourself. Celebrate the right behaviors. Culture is not an accident. Step 5, scale with intention. Build your support structure before you add more agents. Growth that outpaces your infrastructure builds a big team, not a great one. That is the blueprint, not the highlight reel version. The real version includes the hard part. If you're a producing agent who's been thinking about building a team, or if you're already leading a team and some of what I said today hit close to home, I want to have a conversation with you because building a team is one of the most rewarding things I've done in my career. It's also one of the most challenging, and having someone in your corner who's been through it makes a real difference. I do one-on-one Zoom call with agents and team leaders who want an honest conversation about where they are and what building something real actually looks like. No pitch, no pressure, just a real conversation from someone who has built it, mistakes and all. The link to book directly on my calendar is in the description below. It takes about about 30 seconds to book a time that works for you. And if this video gave you a clearer picture of what building a team actually takes, subscribe to this channel. I post content every week for real estate agents and team leaders who want to build something real, not just a bigger number on a recruiting slide. I'm Scott Coomer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.